Let me quickly tell you a story of how I bought this electrical blender out of anger. This story happens 2 months ago. For a long time now, I've been using a manual grater, this particular one you're seeing on the screen. And to be honest, it was useful, it worked. And whenever the thought of buying an electric blender came up, I always had an excuse. Not because I couldn't afford it, but because I felt it wasn't urgent. I usually tell myself things like, I can manage what I have and I will get it later. But here's the thing, every excuse looked legit until the day I actually got tired. I remember the day before getting the blender, I had been awake all night, working on projects. By the time I looked at the clock, it was already past 5 a.m. That was exactly where the frustration that triggered me to buy this blender started from. I'm a student, so balancing school life and my creative work as a graphic designer is already a lot. One moment you're trying to deliver a client's project, the other one you're trying to meet up with a deadline. Let's not even talk about your spiritual life and your personal life activities. And on top of all that, trying to show up consistently on your social media platform, it gets really overwhelming. And the truth is, many people don't see this side of being a freelancer. They think it's all about pressing your phone or your laptop. And sometimes, especially Nigerian clients, they try to underpay us, not realizing the sacrifices and the effort it takes to complete their project. Only for you to deliver a project to a client and then you'll be hearing things like, my wife don't like color blue, please change the color. Anyway, me I didn't used to experience this type of clients, but then it happens to a lot of creatives. Dear client, I need you to know that we know your favorite color, but then not all designs will always go with your favorite color. To you, you are telling a graphic designer to change a color, but the actual truth, sometimes it costs more than just a click. That tiny change you just made can cost them more than you can imagine. So if you have any preferences in your mind, make sure you communicate with them before they start the design itself. And to you, the freelancers as well, don't be too focused on the pay. Especially when it is a new client, make sure you ask the necessary questions before you even talk about the pay. This includes their color preferences. Not just that, ask them if they have a particular design they would love you to model from. The truth is, some clients already have a design in mind, but by asking the right question, you know the type of client you are dealing with. But I must remind you, this is totally optional and you don't practice this strategy on all clients. Some clients might take you for a beginner, while some will genuinely understand you are just trying to know their expectations. It all depends on how you communicate with them. Learn how to communicate effectively. Imagine for a food flyer design, a client is asking you to choose purple over red just because it is their favorite color. You as a professional should be able to educate them on why red is better for a food flyer instead of purple. Let them know that graphic design is about communicating an idea and each graphic design element represents something. It's not just a decoration. For instance, red represents energy and purple represents elegance. If they fail to understand your own point, then you can proceed with the design the way they love it. But then I would advise, never post that in your portfolio on your social media platform, because when people get to see the design, they are not going to blame the client for being adamant. They are going to blame you as the designer, not knowing you had tried to convince them. So when a prospect reach out to you, before talking price at all, understand the problem, how you can solve it, come to a mutual agreement. Although this part is optional, but then you can choose to sign a contract to them that any editing that is coming from their own end may cost them extra for an editing fee. Like I said, that is totally optional depending on the client you are talking to. To some people, you don't charge them, but to some people, they actually take you for granted. Do not give them faith. I mean, your time is more valuable than being taken for granted. Anyways, let me continue my story. After barely an hour of sleep, that day, I had to prepare for class, went to school, and at the end of the day, came back very late in the evening. I'm talking almost 6 p.m. Unfortunately, for someone like me that doesn't like to eat outside, I had no choice rather than to cook when I get home. Even when I was tired, I was still very hungry. I decided to get pepper on my way back home, so I could use to prepare stew for dinner. On getting home, I put the rice on fire, and then came the pepper. With my manual grater, I started grating and grating and grating and grating and grating till I got so tired. While I was still grating, I noticed that the rice I put on fire was ready. And in that moment, the truth hit me. Sometimes we are our own enemy. We don't delay progress because we lack resources, but because we keep justifying the delay. Comfort zone feels safe until it costs us more than we can imagine. Like I said, I bought this blender 2 months ago, but the truth is, I wish I had gotten it a long time ago. Let's not even talk about the fact that it saves time. It actually saves you from stress as well. I mean, I know all these things, but then my excuses were holding me down. Now, this story is not about the blender. It is about you watching this video. Yes, you heard me right. You. I want you to know that excuses may sound reasonable, but growth only begins the day we finally get tired of where we are. The blender I could have got years ago for less than half the price, I ended up buying it more than double the cost. Not because I couldn't afford it earlier, but because I allowed excuses to hold me back. So if you watch to this point, let this be a sign that the only thing standing between you and your next level is that excuses you've been telling yourself. This story has nothing to do about you buying a gadget. I'm not asking you to buy a blender, but don't wait until the cost is double or the effort is greater. Stop letting excuses hold you back from taking decisions that will improve your life. Take steps today and watch how much easier your journey becomes. Special thanks to my favorite person behind the camera. Thank you guys for watching to the end of this video. Bye bye.